आग बुझाने के लिए जल गया भाई का झूला तो सकीना रोई। देखा जब ओढ़ कर सर पे रिदा, कान में दुर पहने हुए, ओढ़ कर सर पे रिदा, कानों में दुर पहने हुए, सामने आई जो रमला तो सकीना रोई। देखा जब बाप का लाशा तो सकीना रोई। मार कर सैयद मज़लूम के होठों पे छड़ी, मार कर सैयद मज़लूम के होठों पे छड़ी। अरे जब हज़ाक़ी में कूफा तो सकीना रोई। देखा जब बाप का लाशा तो सकीना रोई। क्या सकीना हो तुम्हें इतना बता दो बीबी, क्या सकीना हो तुम्हें इतना बता दो बीबी। हिंद ने आके जो पूछा तो सकीना रोई। देखा जब बाप चाहती थी के बोले आए उसे खैमे में, चाहती थी के बोले आए उसे खैमे में। अरे बाप का लाशा न उठा तो सकीना रोई। देखा जब बाप कैद में सुनते हुए बाप के सर से लोरी, कैद में सुनते हुए बाप के सर से लोरी, जख्मी होठों को जो देखा तो सकीना रोई। अरे देखा जब बाप का लाशा तो सकीना रोई। शिर्म ने मारा जो दुर्रा तो सकीना रोई। देखा जब बाप का लाशा तो सकीना रोई। मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम।
सही है, ठीक है। हेलो, ज़रा सा ऊपर करें। ठीक है। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। आज भी ज़ैनब की आती है सदा, भाई हुसैन। आज भी ज़ैनब की आती है सदा, भाई हुसैन। तेरा चेहरा तेरी आंखें भूल कब पाई हुसैन। आज भी ज़ैनब की आती है सदा, भाई हुसैन। चलते नाके से गिराया खुद को जलती रेत पर। चलते नाके से गिराया खुद को जलती रेत पर। घुटनियों के बल में तेरी लाश तक आई हुसैन। आज भी ज़ैनब की आती है सदा, भाई हुसैन। बस में घबराई थी खंजर तुझ पे चलता देख कर। बस में घबराई थी खंजर तुझ पे चलता देख कर। फिर किसी मुश्किल में गिर कर मैं न घबराई हुसैन। आज भी ज़ैनब की आती है सदा, भाई हुसैन। कौन था जो मरने वालों में नहीं था खूबरू। कौन था जो मरने वालों में नहीं था खूबरू। भूलने बैठी तो किस किस की न याद आई हुसैन। आज भी ज़ैनब की आती है सदा, भाई हुसैन। तेरा चेहरा तेरी आंखें भूल कब पाई हुसैन। आज भी ज़ैनब की आती है सदा, भाई हुसैन।
एक और बुलंद सलावत ये प्लीज।
आज शहादत की रात है बीबी की शान में, और उनकी शहादत के मौके पर बस चंद शेर हैं। जिंदां में सकीना ये बुका करती थी रोकर, जिंदां में सकीना ये बुका करती थी रोकर, दम घुटता है अम्मा मेरा अब यहाँ से चलो घर, जिंदां में सकीना ये बुका करती थी रोकर, क्या अंधेरा है सुझाई नहीं देता कुछ भी, क्या अंधेरा है सुझाई नहीं देता कुछ भी, हाथ रखता नहीं अम्मा मेरे सर पर कोई, और चंद रोज में मर जाऊंगी मैं घुट घुट कर, जिंदां में सकीना ये बुका करती थी रोकर, खाक पर सोती हूँ बाबा का नहीं है सीना, खाक पर सोती हूँ बाबा का नहीं है सीना, कितना दुश्वार है इस रंजो अलम में जीना, रात दिन रोती हूँ बाबा को कोई दे दे खबर, जिंदां में सकीना ये बुका करती थी रोकर, हूँ भरा कुर्ता बदल दो मेरी प्यारी अम्मा, हूँ भरा कुर्ता बदल दो मेरी प्यारी अम्मा, अपनी गोदी में सुना लो मुझे बारी अम्मा, सोने देता नहीं एक पल मुझे हिजर पे दर, जिंदां में सकीना ये बुका करती थी रोकर, नील रुखसार के कानों का लहू ताज़ा है, नील रुखसार के कानों का लहू ताज़ा है। कुछ मेरे दर्द का अम्मा तुम्हें अंदाज़ा है, रात दिन रोती हूँ कर दे कोई बाबा को खबर, जिंदान में सकीना ये बुका करती थी रोकर। तुम तो कहती थी रिहाई की घड़ियां पहुंची, तुम तो कहती थी रिहाई की घड़ी आ पहुंची। ऐसा लगता है जुदाई की घड़ी आ पहुंची, ख्वाब में आते थे, ख्वाब में आए थे मेरे अभी दादा हैदर, जिंदान में सकीना नींद आती न थी रेहान जिसे वो बची, नींद आती न थी रेहान जिसे वो बची, सो गई शाम के जिंदान में ये कहती हुई, चैन से सोऊंगी जिंदान से जब जाऊंगी घर, जिंदान में सकीना ये बुका करती थी रोकर। दम घुटता है अम्मा मेरा, अब यहाँ से चलो घर, जिंदान में सकीना ये बुका करती थी रोकर।
मोहम्मद आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद, अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद। एक मत और बार दिखा से अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ले अला मुहम्मदिन व एक मतलब बारी का सलमान। हुस्नो कमाल देता है अब्बास का आलम, हुस्नो कमाल देता है अब्बास का आलम, गम से निकाल देता है अब्बास का आलम, गम से निकाल देता है अब्बास का आलम। अरे मुश्किल कुशा अली है रसूलों के वास्ते, मुश्किल कुशा अली है रसूलों के वास्ते, अपनी तो टाल देता है अब्बास का आलम। बहुत शुक्रिया। अरे मुश्किल कुशा अली है रसूलों के वास्ते, अपनी तो टाल देता है अब्बास का आलम, हुस्नो कमाल देता है बर मोहम्मद आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु मोहम्मदिन वाले। बहुत शुक्रिया। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ले अला मुहम्मदिन व शबीर को खालिक ने सकीना जो अता की, ज़ैनब की सी सूरत थी, सब उस माखलका की, जिस दम दिया गोदी में उसे लाके चचा की, अब्बास ने हाथों को उठा कर ये दुआ की, अब्बास ने हाथों को उठा कर ये दुआ की कि रखे तुझे लाडली अल्लाह सलामत, रखे तुझे लाडली अल्लाह सलामत, दुनिया में रहे सर पे तेरे शाह सलामत। शबीर को खालिक ने मोहम्मद आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मदिन व आले मोहम्मद। बहुत शुक्रिया। एक मतलब बावत बुलंद सल्लल्लाहु अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मदिन व कलाम आप नोहे में तो सुनते रहते हैं, इसको सलाम के तौर पे।
जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा, जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा हर तमाचे पे सकीना ने, हर तमाचे पे सकीना ने पुकारा बाबा, जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा मुझे बालों से पकड़ कर गए तमाचे मारे, अरे मुझे बालों से पकड़ कर गए तमाचे मारे। मैंने सरशिम्र से मांगा जो तुम्हारा बाबा, जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा, अरे जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा वो जो दुर्या आपने तोहफे में मुझे बख्शे थे, अरे वो जो दुर्या आपने तोहफे में मुझे बख्शे थे, उनको बेदर्दी से जालिम ने, उनको बेदर्दी से जालिम ने उतारा बाबा, जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा, अरे जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा अरे आपके सीने पे आराम से सोने वाली, अरे आपके सीने पे आराम से सोने वाली, सो के अब खाक पे करती है गुजारा बाबा, जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा, अरे जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा, और साथ रहवारों के दौड़ाया गया है मुझको, अरे साथ रहवारों के दौड़ाया गया है मुझको, चूर जख्मों से बदन मेरा है सारा बाबा, जब मुझे आप के कातिल ने है मारा बाबा। अरे जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा। अन्नों के नेज़ा पे उसे देखूं तो देखूं कैसे। हरनों के नेज़ा पे उसे देखूं तो देखूं कैसे। अरे मेरा असगर था मुझे जान से भी प्यारा बाबा। जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा। अरे जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा। और मेरी गुर्बत में चचा जाने का सर रोता है। अरे मेरी गुर्बत में चचा जाने का सर रोता है। अरे उनकी गुर्बत में करूं कैसे गवारा बाबा। जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा। जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा। अरे बेकफन आप हो बेकफन रहेगी बेटी। अरे बेकफन आप हो बेकफन रहेगी बेटी। एक जैसा ही मुकद्दर है हमारा बाबा। जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा। हर तमाचे पे सकीना ने हर तमाचे पे सकीना ने पुकारा बाबा। जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा। बर मोहम्मद आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि मोहम्मदिन वाले फातिहा। आपसे दरख्वास्त है कि एक और सूरह फातिहा हमारे अली के मरहूमी के लिए पढ़ दें। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन अर्रहमानिर्रहीम मालिकि यौमिद्दीन इय्याका नअबुदु व इय्याका नस्तईन इहदिनस सिरातल मुस्तक़ीम सिरातल लज़ीना अनअमता अलैहिम गैरिल मग़ज़ूबि अलैहिम और मोहम्मद आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु मोहम्मद जिंदा में जाके दुख तरे शब्बीर मर गई। जिंदा में जाके दुख तरे शब्बीर मर दुनिया से दफतन सफर खुल्द कर। अरे कुनबे के दिल पे दाग जुदाई का धर
आशिक गुजर गुल पड़ गया हुसैन की आशिक गुजर। अरे जन्नत बसाई देख के दुनिया के बाद ताजा किया है फिर अली असगर के दाग, ताजा किया है फिर अली असगर के दाग। और बाजू हिला के बानुए नाशाद ने रे बीबी पिदर के सर से उठाओ तो सर। अरे बातें अभी तो करती थी आंसू बहा, साकित है नब्ज़ गाए गज़ा सर्द दस्त, साकित है नब्ज़ गाए गज़ा सर्द दस्त। अरे मुँह देखते ही ज़ीस्त का नक्शा बदल, किस वक्त सांस रुक गई का दम निकल, किस वक्त सांस रुक गई का दम निकल। बच्ची ये माँ तुझे किधर अब ढूंढने, ए गम रसीदा तूने कयामत के दो। अरे छुट कर पिदर से घुड़कियां खाए तमाम। अरे बीबी रसल बंधी तेरी गर्दन में हाथ, बीबी रसल बंधी तेरी गर्दन में हाथ। अरे जो शक्तियां फलक ने दिखाई वो सह, अरे बुंदे जो छिल गए मेरा मुंह तक रह, बुंदे जो छिल गए मेरा मुंह तक। कुर्बान जाऊं कह दिए दामे बला, आफत में सिफादे सिफते नबी मुब्तला। अरे मजबूर है गरीब है बेदस्तो पा, अरे बीबी को दे कहाँ से कफन बेरदा, अरे बीबी को दे कहाँ से कफन बेरदा। अरे पहले से खाक में है बदन सब हटा, ले जाओ कब्र में यही कुर्ता फटा, ले जाओ कब्र में यही कुर्ता। और ईज़ा से गम से रंज उठाने से छोड़, कुनबे से क्या के सारे ज़माने से छोड़। हर सुबह शाम अश्क बहाने से छोड़। अरे अच्छा हुआ के घुड़कियां खाने से, अच्छा हुआ के घुड़कियां खाने से। अरे नींद उड़ गई थी लोगों की बची के बैन, अब तो यजीद रात को सोएगा चैन, अब तो यजीद रात को सोएगा चैन। जिंदा में जाग के दोख्तर शब्बीर मर गई। पर मोहम्मद आल मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि मोहम्मद
पर मोहम्मद आल मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि मोहम्मद आले मोहम्मद। अब लोगों से दरख्वास्त है कि एक दफ़ा सूरह हम 3 दफ़ा कुल हुवल्लाह पढ़ के आज के जो स्पॉन्सर है अली रिजवी और मोहम्मद नकवी इनके मरूमीन के लिए और तमाम हाज़रीन के मरूमीन के लिए पढ़ के हदिया कर दें। एक और सूरह फातिहा की दरख्वास्त है दरवाज़ों पे जो हमारे मेंबर हैं जो हमेशा हर महीने हमें डोनेशन करते हैं उनके मरूमीन के लिए भी एक फातिहा पढ़ दें। मैं दरख्वास्त करता हूँ मौलाना मेहदी हज़ारी साहब से कि ज़ेर मिंबर हो के मोमिनीन व मोमिनात से खिताब फरमाएं। मौलाना की सेहत और सलामती के लिए बुलंदतर सलावत।
ठीक है। الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي फिक्र नहीं करें, मैं नहा के आया हूँ आज परफ्यूम भी ज़रा कलोन लगा के आया हूँ। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। सल्लल्लाहु अलैका या सय्यदी व या मौलाई या रसूल अल्लाह व अला अहल बैतिक المعصومين الأبرار الميامين المظلومين المضطهدين. السلام عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة يا غريب يا مظلوم يا عطشان كربلاء. ما خاب والله من تمسك بكم أمن من لجأ والتجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا فيا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذا أخذنا من النبيين ميثاقهم ومنك ومن نوح وإبراهيم وموسى وعيسى ابن مريم وأخذنا منهم ميثاقا غليظا ليسأل الصادقين عن صدقهم وأعد للكافرين عذابا أليما. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. والسلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. For the last few nights, I have mentioned to you from the ayat of the Holy Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken a covenant from the prophets and the messengers. And the ayah I mentioned to you repeatedly in the beginning, وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ مِيثَاقَهُمْ وَمِنْكَ وَمِن نُوحٍ وَإِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى وَعِيسَى ibn Maryam, that the five ulul azm of the rusul, of the messengers, Allah specifies them in this ayah. And not only does He specify the covenant that is placed on them, but the weight of that covenant. And I expressed to you that the reason behind this is so that a test falls on all of us to determine our level of sincerity. And that level of sincerity is something that we have to consider very deeply. Because when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam arrived, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, he brought the most important message that then is for all of time. I mentioned to you already Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, and Isa alayhimus salam. But when Rasul, Khatim al-Anbiya wal-Mursaleen arrives, everything changes. Rasulullah is like no other. And no one is like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. We have the Quran to testify to this. And when they leave the message behind, we see whatever he leaves is for all time, for all humanity. And I already mentioned to you a few nights ago that insan, we struggle. Why? Because we cannot see the akhirah. We close our eyes and we cannot visualize that Jannah that is waiting for us. I cannot visualize tomorrow. Forget about Jannah. Forget about Mi'ad. Forget about Nar Jahannam. I cannot see tomorrow. I cannot see 5 years from now. We cannot see that destination, that final place, so we struggle. We stumble through life. Or what do? We have belief, but we falter in that belief. We falter in our belief and we cover ourselves with dhulm. Wal-'ayadhu billah. We make mistake and mistake and mistake. And that's why the ayah is very clear. وَمَن يَتَعَدَّ حُدُودَ اللَّهِ فَقَدْ ظَلَمَ نَفْسَهُ. Whoever transgresses the laws of Allah, they have done a dhulm on themselves. First and foremost. And we make excuses. We make too many excuses in life. We make too many excuses why I didn't pray on time, why I didn't fast, why I didn't give khums, why I didn't go for Hajj. Always there is some excuse. There is always some excuse. There's always something that makes me too big to be the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And yet when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, he comes, he dispels everything. And he says, now you have no excuse. Because the message that I am going to bring is complete. It has everything in it. So you know that when he first came and he started to give the message, the people would come to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam and they will argue. They will argue with him in the days of Mecca. Abu Jahl, Abu Sufyan, other people will come. All the big chiefs of Quraysh will come. These are all idol worshippers. They will come. They will come and they'll challenge him. They will say, "O Muhammad, if Allah wanted to send a message, why didn't He pick a king to send the message to? Why did He pick someone like you? Nobody. You're a shepherd. You go out, you tend to the animals. You don't do anything yourself. You work in the business of your wife. Huh? We today as men, our nose is like this on top of our wives, yes? But Rasulullah worked in the business of his wife, huh? Business of Khadijat al-Kubra. She was the owner. He was just the manager. Yes? So remember the position of Rasulullah when you consider yourself to be too big for anything. So they will come and they will say, Ya Rasulullah, O Muhammad, they will say that if Allah wants to send a religion, He will send it to a king. Why should He send it to a man like you? You are nothing. You are nothing. Rasulullah will answer them. He will say to them, Allah chooses what He chooses. Who am I to tell Allah who to choose, who not to choose? That is the choice that Allah has chosen. He has sent me to do two things: to give knowledge to the people and teach them taqwa. Teach them knowledge and give them taqwa. Moreover, Rasulullah, he tells them, he says, if Allah sent a king to be the messenger, to be the Rasul, he says, what would happen? The king, where do you always find him? You find him hidden away in his castle. Does he open the door and let the poor people come and see him? He doesn't. Does he go and walk amongst the people? No, because he's always got guards around him, protecting him from the ordinary people. When does the king go and meet with the people? Never. Rasulullah, he says, if Allah had made the king into the Rasul, he says the poor people will never come to his door. It will defeat the purpose of the message that you are amongst them, Ya Rasul. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, anytime anyone will come, they will say, where is Muhammad? Muhammad is not on a throne. Muhammad is not sitting on some high pedestal. He is with Ashab al-Suffa. The ark that sits on top of the door of the masjid is called the Suffa. Ashab al-Suffa were the poor people who have no homes, no place to go. They will sit under the shade of the Suffa because they have no home and save themselves from the sun. Where is Rasulullah? Sitting amongst them. So when they ask this question, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. So they said, okay. They said, oh Muhammad, fine, no king. Instead, if Allah wants to send this great message that you claim is for all of humanity, all of time, why not send an angel? Makes sense, right? That you send an angel, and the angel will come and he will make it apparent to everyone that this is the true religion. Rasulullah, he answers them. He says, if an angel was the messenger to bring the message of Allah, how will he come? He says, you cannot see him. He's an angel. Angels are nur. You cannot see them by your eye. The only way for him to come in front of you is if he were to become a human. If he were to take human form and stand in front of you, then you will believe in him. But then that defeats the purpose of making an angel into the messenger. Because the only way you can see him is if he becomes human himself. Stands in front of you and shows you things. That's why Allah chose a man to come forward, to teach you from amongst you. So they asked this question. They says, okay, well, then if he sends the Quran, and you claim that the Quran is the book of God, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're claiming that this is the divine word of God, then why didn't he send it to the rich people of Mecca? People who have money, who have affluence, who have position, why didn't Allah give the Quran to them? They have money, they have ability, they have affluence, they have name, they will spread the Quran everywhere. Makes sense, right? Today, if you want to spread some merchandise, will you go to a poor person and say, hey, go give my merchandise out to people? You'll never say that. You will go to the richest, most affluent, strongest business person. You'll say, here's my merchandise, go give it. You have connections, you have money, you have resources, go spread it. So Kuffar of Quraysh, they say the same thing to Rasulullah. They say, Muhammad, if he sent the Quran, why didn't he give it to the rich people, the affluent people of Mecca? They would have spread it. Rasulullah, he says, the reason they didn't give it is because he wanted to show that he doesn't need your money and your wealth to spread his word. That his Rasul doesn't need the money and wealth of Quraysh to succeed. All he needs is the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See what he is establishing. See what he is establishing. And this, when we talk about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, we are talking of the greatest human being who is an example for all of us. Uswa Hasana, when you talk about the best example, this is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. But that means now that our responsibility on the path of Muhammad becomes even higher. Please, my dear brothers and sisters, hold yourselves to a higher standard the minute you say you are a follower of Muhammad. What does Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salatu was-salam say? He addresses the Shia of Ahl al-Bayt. He says to the Shia, he says, "Kunu lana zaynan, wa la takunu alayna shayna." He says, "Oh, the Shia, make sure that you are decoration, ornament for us. Don't be an embarrassment." The minute we say we are a follower of Muhammad, be very careful that you don't do anything that someone will look and say, "This is a follower of Muhammad, look how he's behaving." Wal-'ayadu billah, wal-'ayadu billah. Because we are taking the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. That responsibility is big. Why? Because the Holy Quran, it very clearly describes the position of Rasulullah and the people who are with Rasulullah. You want to know what is the position of Nabi? Just look at those people who follow the Nabi, what they have to do, and you will know the greatness of that Nabi. Right? The higher the position of the Nabi, the more the responsibility of the follower. Right? Makes sense? The more the weight of the message of Rasulullah, the more that is on the shoulders of those following that message. The more responsibility. And if I tell you, you don't have to believe me. I'm nobody. But if Quran tells you, you have to believe. Yes? So what does the Quran say? It says, "Inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira." We sent you, O Habib, as a witness. You witness over everybody. You are the shahid. You are mubashir. You give good news. You are pointing people to falah, to success, to salvation. Wa nadhira. You are warner. You come to warn people that if you don't follow the code of Allah, you will face punishment. Inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira. And what does the next ayah say? I ask for your attention. لِتُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. So that you can believe in Allah and His Rasul. In the Holy Quran, when the letter Lam comes, it is called Lam lil Ghaya. This means that whatever is being mentioned is connected to the previous verse. So I already mentioned to you that Allah took the mithaq, the covenant from the prophets, from the messengers. Why? لِيَسْأَلِ الصَّادِقِينَ عَنْ صِدْقِهِمْ. La, meaning to ask those people who believe how true they are. The lam connects the two. The reason for this is the previous statement. So now the first ayah, it says, we sent Rasulullah, Shahid, Mubashir, Nadir. These three things. Why? Allah says, لِتُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. So that you can believe in Allah and His Rasul. Does it stop? I said this to you already, that I wear a badge here that says I am a mu'min. Today, you all see the white hair in my beard, right? Yes? People keep saying you're young. I'm really not that young. This white beard, I'm telling you, I already get AARP requests. You know AARP, right? The retirement organization of the United States. I already get messages that sign up for a card. You remember, you get a card, right? You get a membership card. Is it the same for being mu'min? That you call yourself a mu'min, you will get a card that makes you mu'min for life? And we already established that there is no such thing. Because iman will go up and down, and it will depend on how well you fulfill your responsibility. So the ayah, what does it say? It says, لِتُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, and it does not stop. It keeps going, because the responsibility on you is bigger. It says, لِتُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَتُعَزِّرُوهُ وَتُوَقِّرُوهُ وَتُسَبِّحُوهُ بُكْرَةً وَأَصِيلًا. You must do 5 things. 5 things must be done. This is Holy Quran. 2 of those things are for Allah. 3 of those things are for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The 2 things are for Allah. What are they? Al-Iman billah. لِتُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ. Believe in God. You must. You must believe in Allah. That is the first thing you do for Allah. وَتُسَبِّحُوهُ بُكْرَةً وَأَصِيلًا. That you do the tasbih of Allah. You praise Him morning and night. Bukratan wa asila. All the time you praise Allah. 2 things for Allah. Now 3 things for Rasulullah. Now I ask your attention now. One, his name is taken with Allah in this. لِتُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Believe in Allah, believe in His Rasul. So the first thing for Rasulullah is what? You must believe in Him. Does anyone believe in Him? Everyone believes in Him. We all believe in Him. We are mu'min in the risala of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. But now two more things you have to do. The ayah says. It says, وَتُعَزِّرُوهُ وَتُوَقِّرُوهُ. These two words, let me stop on them. Today, let's say my good friend Zaki is here, and he comes, and I say, Zaki, I'm going to protect you. I want to protect Zaki, okay? Or anyone here. Me, alhamdulillah, when I come to Los Angeles, Sayyid Asghar takes such good care of me. He is the best. He looks after me for everything. So I say, I want to take care of Zaki, I want to take care of Sayyid Asghar as well. And I'm going to defend them. I'm not going to let anybody come close to them. No harm will come to them. I'm going to protect them with everything that I have. Now, I know about Sayyid Asghar, I know about Zaki, I know about all of you, that you're all mu'min, you are all salih, you do good deeds, you all pray on time, everything that is good. You will never lie, you will never cheat. You talk about the most honorable human being there is, these are them. They have all the good qualities. There's not one bad quality in them, all the good qualities. They stand up, amar bil ma'roof, nahi anil munkar, everything. They are compassionate, they are merciful, they are generous, all of these things. So I should defend them, right? These are people who've got good qualities in them. I should defend them. I should ensure no harm comes to them because they have such good qualities. Now let's say I'm defending them, but I'm not merciful. I'm not generous. I'm not compassionate. I don't pray on time. I don't give my khums. I don't look after the poor. My hand is not over the heads of all the orphans. What sort of defense did this become? It became defense in just name. This is not defense of anything. It's just lip work. Yes? So when the ayah, it says, وَتُعَزِّرُوهُ, it means you protect this Muhammad with everything you've got. The ayah is clear. Tu'azziruh, it means you defend him and what he is till the end of your life. That's not just me saying I stand in front of Rasulullah and just my body is in front of him. This means whatever his message is, I'm going to live that message. I'm going to follow that message. I'm going to implement that message. I'm not going to do the opposite of what Muhammad did. If Muhammad said something, I'm doing the opposite. That is not the defense of Rasulullah. The defense of Rasulullah is to say, I stand and I live by his code. Now the other thing is what tuwaqqiruh. This word is a little different. And it is so important to recognize. Now today, let's say all of you hold the Holy Quran in such a high state, yes? Today, will you tolerate if anyone throws the Quran on the ground, steps on it? Never. You will not. You will not. Anyone taking the Quran and throwing it, treating it like its ordinary book, wal'ayadu billah, some dirt or filth coming on it, you will never tolerate this, yes? Why? Tell me why. Why? Is it just a book? It's just some pages. Is it not just some pages? No, it is just a book with pages. There's nothing. What about your phone? Your phone has Quran in it. You throw that phone all the time? No? You don't open the Quran on your phone and read the Quran on your phone, and you take your phone, you chuck it? Yes? You don't? It is just a book with pages. It's paper. It's just paper. Nothing else, right? No, it is more than that. Why? Because it is the word of Allah in there, yes? It is the code of God in that Quran. There is meaning to it, significance to it. There is weight to it. It has weight to it. So when the ayah says, وَتُوَقِّرُوهُ, not only are you protecting him, but you're saying, this is the heaviest thing I have in my hand. I have to make sure I treat it as the most heavy, the most valuable thing. When you talk about Muhammad, you're talking about the living Quran. The Quran is telling you that treat this Muhammad like he is the heaviest, most valuable thing in your life. Do not let anything soil. Do not let anything come even remotely close to soiling his name. Why? Because what he represents is so heavy that on the day of judgment, when your scales are standing there, it is only Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad that will bring your scale down. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. That we are trying to learn the seerah of this Habib. And how even when he says, Husaynun minni wa ana min al-Husayna, habba Allah man ahabba Husayna, our love for al-Husayn is the love of Rasulullah. Or when he says, Ya Ali nafsuka nafsi, damuka dami, lahmuka lahmi, azmuka azmi, Ali, your blood is my blood, your nafs is my nafs, your skin is my skin, your flesh is my flesh. Our love and our statement of Ya Ali is what? It is the weightiness of Rasulullah, no? Is it anything else? And you need only see the Holy Quran. I point to you only the Holy Quran. Only the Holy Quran. It is described in the history there was a man who was in Isfahan. This man, and I'm sure you know this. This man, he was a fire worshipper. He was a Zoroastrian in Isfahan. And his family were very devout, and you know the Zoroastrians, they light the fire in the lamp and they have to keep it lit. They don't ever put it out. Even in their homes, they have the fire lit and they don't ever turn the match off on it. So he will go and worship, but he never felt connected to the Zoroastrian religion. He always was searching for something for himself. And so one day nearby, and his family was rich. They were a rich family. They owned big orchards. So one day in Isfahan, he's traveling. He comes upon a house, a building, and he hears people are reciting something. He goes in and he asks, he says, what is this? This is new to me. I have never heard this. They said, we are Christians. We are doing our hymns and whatever it is that we recite, our prayer. So the man, he listens and he becomes attracted to it. And he goes back the next day. He keeps going there and he keeps listening. Eventually he realizes, I want to be a Christian. Zoroastrianism is not right for me. So he goes and he starts to attend secretly because he knows his father will get upset. When his father finds out that he's been going to this church to worship and has become a Christian, he locks him in the house. He doesn't let him out. Now this young man, he becomes very distressed by this. And eventually, with the help of one of the servants who were working on the yard of his family, he lets him free. He says, look, there is a caravan leaving from here. It is going towards Syria. Go with this caravan. Follow the caravan and go. And they will take you. There are many Christians in Damascus. You can go there, into that area. So he lets him out. In the middle of the night, he joins the caravan. He goes to Damascus. They say he goes and he joins a monastery, Christian monastery. He finds a priest to worship with. He becomes the apprentice of this priest. He starts to learn. He sees the dignity of this priest and everything that is there. But he also, unfortunately, realizes that this priest is doing some things that are not exactly right. He's a bit dishonest with the money being given to him. So he starts to feel disillusioned. That I came to Christianity, I wanted to learn, I wanted to find the path that was destined for me. And now I'm missing all of this. Everything is falling apart. In the meantime, this priest dies. So he moves from Damascus and he goes to Mosul, what is in Iraq today. And there is a large Christian population in Mosul as well. So he goes to Mosul and he continues to be part of this Christian movement. While in Mosul, and even some say in Syria, he hears the story of a prophet who is going to arise in Arabia. People had been talking about it for a long time. And he begins to hear amongst the Christians that a prophet is going to come in Arabia, in the Hijaz. And so he starts to hear wonderful things that this prophet is going to come and he's going to bring the religion of God and he's going to bring all the good qualities that people have to aspire to. So now in his heart he has a desire to meet this man. When suddenly he hears that this prophet is in the city of Medina, in the Arabian Peninsula, he feels in his heart, I must go. I must go. And so what does he do? He finds out from some people, and they say, go with this caravan, and they will take you there. They will get you to Medina. Now he leaves, and I am shortening the story. He leaves. These people, they deceive him, and they sell him into slavery. They sell him as a slave. So they bring him as a slave into Medina. They sell him to a Jewish owner. The Jewish owner takes him. And not only does he take him, He makes him work day and night, day and night. He's working in Medina. He is cutting the palm trees. He's working the lands. He's tending to the animals. He keeps working. All the while in his heart, he's thinking, I want to see this new prophet. This prophet who has come. One day they describe he is on top of the palm tree. He is cutting the leaves of the palm tree. And he hears that Muhammad is right there nearby. He comes rushing down. When he comes rushing down, he grabs the hands of Rasulullah. He says, "O Muhammad," he says, "I have heard about you. I want to become a Muslim. I want to follow. Tell me about your religion." Rasulullah, he tells him. He says, "I am ready to become a Muslim. I am ready to take the Shahada on your hands." Rasulullah, he says, "What's your name?" The man, he says, "My name is Rozbeh ibn Khashnud." Rozbeh ibn Khashnud. Rasulullah, he says, "No." He says, "From now on, you will be known as Salman." Salman, you will be known as Salman. You know who Salman this is. There's only one Salman. You will be known as Salman from now on. And not only will you be known as Salman, it is described that many years later, many years later, Salman al-Farsi, Rozbeh ibn Khashnud, was sitting in the company of some people. And they were all talking about what tribe they come from, what family they are from, where village they have grown up in, who is their father, who is their grandfather. In those days, the Arabs had a lot of fakhr on where they came. We have that fakhr where we have come from, yes? So they're sitting, one is saying, "I come from this tribe, and my father is this, and he has come from there, and he owns this." And another one is saying, "My grandfather is this, and my tribe has this name, and we have this honor." Salman is sitting quietly. Finally, they stop, they look, they say, "Salman, you are silent, tell us. What is your lineage? Who is your father? Where did you come from? What is your tribal? Are you Tamimi? Are you Asadi? What are you? What background is yours?" Salman, he says, "I am Salman al-Muhammadi." He says, "I am Salman al-Muhammadi." And he says, "Ana ibnul Islam." I am the son of Islam. He says, "I was poor and I became enriched because of Muhammad." He says, "I was lost and Muhammad found me." He says, "I was a slave and Muhammad freed me." This is the effect of Rasulullah. And this is the Salman al-Farsi that you see. Now I ask you, do we feel this towards our Rasul? Or is it just our lip service that is saying, "Ya Rasulullah"? That Rasul, I cannot even explain to you, and we will only stay with Rasulullah tonight, nothing else. We don't have to say anything else. He is too big for us even to, these words are not even enough to cover who he is. Why? Because of his position. And we need only to see who he is. That's why we must stand on the line of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu was salam, once when he was talking, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. He was talking to a companion named Abu Nu'man. And he says to Abu Nu'man, he says, "Let me tell you a few things, some warnings to you." This is a companion. And I am telling you this, that I feel as I read these riwayas sometimes that he is speaking to me. Our Imam, I feel in my heart that he is talking to me directly and warning me that I should pay heed. He says, don't ever, Imam says, don't ever support any lies against us. Do not ever support any lie against the family of Rasulullah. Ever, ever. He says, otherwise, it will take you away from Sirat al-Mustaqim. He says, number two, he says, don't eat the wealth of people. Don't go chasing after the wealth and rob the wealth of people. He says, because you will find yourself, eventually you will be poor. Number three, this one is important. He says, don't try to always be the head. He says, because you'll find that maybe you've become the tail. We want to all be leader. No, not everyone is going to be a leader. And those who want to be leader, sometimes you have to be careful about those people who are wanting to be leader so badly. Imam says, don't chase after being leader, the head, because you'll find you'll become the tail. Imam, he says, tell the truth. He says, because if you tell the truth, we will testify to the fact that you are telling the truth. Your Imam will testify Imam Mehdi will testify that you are telling the truth. But he says, don't lie. Because if you lie, then we will verify that you are lying. Just like we verify you are telling the truth, we will verify that you are lying. Look at what Imam is teaching us. He says to him, realize, and this is very important, don't allow the people to deceive your mind. O Abu Nu'man, don't allow the people to deceive your mind, because he says Allah's fate, His qadar and His qada will reach you eventually. Stay on your path. Stay on your path. The final thing he says, you're going to slip. You will slip. You will make mistakes. We've talked about it for the last 2 nights, that people will slip. He says, do amal as-salih, do good deeds, because there is no better way to get back onto Sirat al-Mustaqim than doing good deeds. Do as many good deeds as you can. Don't lose the opportunity to do good deeds. This is the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And that's why when you talk about the weight of his position, you are talking about al-Mustafa. He is known as Muhammad al-Mustafa. Now I ask you, let me stop here. The Holy Quran describes very clearly that Inna Allah astafa Adama wa Nuha wa ala Ibrahim wa ala Imran ala al-alameen. It uses this word istifa. Istifa, Allah has chosen. If you translate to English, it means to choose over others. It says you have chosen Adam, Nuh, Al-Ibrahim, Al-Imran. Basically the family tree of all the prophets. Allah has chosen them over all of the people, all the alameen. So now, in the same sense, the Holy Quran also says, ثُمَّ أَوْرَثْنَا الْكِتَابَ الَّذِينَ اصْطَفَيْنَا مِنْ عِبَادِنَا. That we have given as inheritors of the book those people who are what? Mustafa, yes? Who have istifa, who have been chosen. So now, let's stop on this word. In Arabic, when you say istifa, in English you translate the word to mean you choose. You choose someone. You have a group in front of you. You have some choices to make. You make one choice, that is istifa. But it's not that simple. There are 2 words in Arabic. One is ikhtiyar, one is istifa. Let me give you an example. Let's say you all eat mangoes, right? Mango season just ended, I think. Do you get good Pakistani Indian mango here? Of course. Someone said, of course. That's it. I'm moving to Los Angeles. We only get Mexican. And really, Saraha, Mexican mango doesn't do it for me. I don't know. It's good, but it's not that good. Let's say I have a basket, yes, tray of mangoes. And I've got all mangoes. They're all red, orange, yellow, all this color of a mango. And I look at it, and I pick a good one, yes? I pick a good one, and I look at it, and I choose it for myself. This is called ikhtiyar. Okay? If I were to take this mango and put it back in, and someone were to mix the mangoes up and bring it back to me, do you think I could pick the same mango? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. I will look, I'll see another one. They will all look the same, basically, maybe a little color. I will grab it, but I won't be sure. Okay? That is called ikhtiyar, to choose khayr al-shay, to pick something that is good. Istifa, let me give you another example. Istifa means, let's say you bring a tray, it's got all rocks in it. It's all rocks. Black, gray, all rocks. And in the middle of them is a diamond. And you pick out the diamond, such that if you put the diamond back, will you be able to tell the diamond every time from the rocks? Yeah. You will. That is istifa. You understand my meaning? You have all rocks, one diamond. You pick the diamond, you put the diamond back 100 times, you will always know the diamond amongst the rocks. This is istifa. It means akhadh safwat al-shay. You pick the best of the best things. That is Muhammad al-Mustafa, best of the best. Such that if you put him in a crowd of people, you will always know Muhammad and you will always see everyone else. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. That's why the word of the Quran is so poignant, so powerful, that we need only just see that word. And this is not my words I'm telling you. I am telling you the words of our A'imma al-Athhar, because I don't know Rasulullah. I cannot describe Rasulullah. My words are not sufficient, but Ma'soom can tell you. And that's why when it says the inheritors of the book are those who have istifa, who are Mustafa, then when you hear that awwaluna Muhammad, awsatuna Muhammad, akharuna Muhammad wa kulluna Muhammad. The first is Muhammad, middle is Muhammad, last is Muhammad, all are Muhammad, all are Muhammad. Then there is no question who has the book, who has the Quran, and where do you go when you want to find? That's why, what does the Imam say? Ilm al-Qur'ani ha huna. Here is the knowledge of the book. Here is the knowledge of the book. That's why you hear from Imam Ali alayhi salam, Salluni qabla an tafquduni. Ask me before you lose me. Even in his last moments, that when he is lying on his deathbed, they come to Amir al-Mu'mineen. The poison from Ibn Muljam has spread into the body. His skin has become yellow. And yet even then they are surrounding him and he is still saying, Salluni qabla an tafquduni. But in that moment, the Rawi, he says one thing after it. He says, وَلَكِنْ خَفِّفُ سُؤَالَكُمْ لِمُصِيبَةِ إِمَامِكُمْ. He says, make your question light because of the musibah of your Imam. These are the doors of knowledge. These are the path that show us. And I am telling you that the only way we find salvation is on the path of Rasulullah. Yet, even our Imam, when he stood in Karbala, what did he say? He said two things. He placed two hujjah on the enemy. He said to them first, Bayni wa baynakum kitab Allah. Bayni wa baynakum kitab Allah. Between you and between me is the book of Allah. Now I tell you, the pages of those books matter, the cover of that book matter, or the content of it is what he is pointing to. He is pointing to the content of that book. And he is telling us that focus on the content of that Quran. Focus on the content of that Quran. Give it your attention, even one ayah a day. One ayah a day, my dear brothers and sisters, not hard. One ayah. Imam Hussein stood there and he said, Bayni wa baynakum kitab Allah. Between you and me is the book of Allah. And he said one other thing. He said, Alastu ibn binti nabiyyikum. Now, this is strange. Because when he stood there, he didn't say, am I not the grandson of Rasulullah? He didn't say that. He said, am I not the son of the daughter of Rasulullah? Am I not the son of the daughter of your Nabi? He takes the name of Fatima az-Zahra alayha salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. The weight of that message. The weight of that message that Rasulullah has given to us. And that's why when he stood there, he says, إِن كَانَ دِينُ مُحَمَّدٍ لَمْ يَسْتَقِمْ إِلَّا بِقَتْلِي فَيَا سُيُوفْ خُذِينِي. If the religion of Muhammad, of my grandfather, is not going to survive except by me being killed, swords come and take me. That is Al-Imam Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. And when he is getting ready to go, you know this in the end, that he climbs his horse. And it is only one person who brings the horse to Imam Hussein. And that is Al-Hawra Al-Aqila Zainab Al-Kubra alayha salatu wassalam. She brings the horse to her brother to go. She puts the shirt on his back to go. And we are coming to the days of Zainab, inshallah, in a week. That when he goes out riding towards the battlefield, you have all heard this. And this is the night of Sukaina bint al-Husayn. That when he is riding out, he hears the voice coming from behind him saying, Mahlan, mahlan, ya Abba. Mahlan, mahlan, ya Abba. Slow down, my father, slow down for me. التفت الإمام الحسين ورأى ابنته سكينة بنت الحسين تركض إليه. He turns around and he sees Sukaina bint al-Husayn. She is running. تقوم تارة وتقع على أرض كربلاء أخرى. She gets up and she falls down. She gets up and she falls down, trying to run so fast to her father. She reaches her father. Her father is on Dhul Janah. She looks. Her father says, Ya bunayya ya Sukaina, mada turidin? What do you want, Sukaina? Imam Hussein looks, he asks her, Sukaina, she says, Ya Aba, inzil min ala dhahri farasik. Get down from on top of your horse, my father, please. Imam Hussein, he comes down from the horse. He comes down, he says, Al-an, Ya Bunayya, Mada turidin? Ya Sukaina, what do you want, my daughter Sukaina? I have come down from the horse's back, what do you want? Sukaina, she says, Ya Aba, khudh biyadika wa mud biha. وامسح بها على رأسي كأنك تمسح على رؤوس اليتامى. She says to him, my father, extend your hand, bring your hand to me, and take your hand and place it on top of my head the way you put your hand on the heads of the orphans, because very soon I will become an orphan. This same Sukaina, when the fire was lit to the tents, when the criminals, when the soldiers of Umar ibn Sa'ad are ransacking the tents, attacking, stealing the jewelry, striking the daughters of Rasulullah, Hamid ibn Muslim, he says that I was walking in the desert of Karbala and I saw a little girl running in the desert. Her clothes were on fire. They had caught on fire. And I was running behind her to put out the flames of the fire on her clothes. And when I came behind her, she turned around and she was afraid. She said to me, Ya Shaykh, hal anta lana am alayna? Oh Shaykh, are you on our side or are you against us? Hamid ibn Muslim, he says, Ya bunayya, ana la lakum wa la alaykum. I am not for you and I am not against you. Walakin idha عندك حاجة أقضيها لك. He says, but if you have a need, I will fulfill that need. Sukaina, she looks at him and she says, إِذَنْ يَا شَيْخ دُلَّنِي إِلَى دَرْبِ النَّجَافِ. She says, tell me, where is the road that leads to Najaf? Tell me how to get there. Hamid ibn Muslim, he says to her, that Darb al-Najaf ba'id alayki ya bunayya. The road to Najaf is too long, it's too far. You cannot go there. You cannot travel that distance. He says to her, why do you want to go in that direction? She says to him, I want to go to my grandfather Ali. I want to complain to my Jad Ali ibn Abi Talib that they burned the tents of Al-Hussein, that they snatched the earrings from our ears, that they took away our possessions and they beat us. Ya Jadda, Ya Aliyah. Hamid ibn Muslim, he says to Sukaina, it is too far for you. Sukaina, then she says, إِذَنْ يَا شَيْخ دُلَّنِي إِلَى مَصْرَعِ أَبِي عَبْدِ اللَّهِ أَيْوَا حُسَيْنَا. In your hearts always say, Wah Husayna, Wah Ghariba. She says to him, if the road to go to my grandfather Ali is too far, tell me how I can find the body of my father Al-Hussein. And the cries from the tents are coming, that Ya Sukaina, aina anti Ya Sukaina. Zainab is calling, where are you Sukaina? Where is she to be found? They look and they see أنها على صدر أبيها الحسين. She is on the chest of her father Al-Hussein, crying and weeping. They take her to Kufa, tied the hands of these children. They brought them into Kufa. My dear brothers and sisters, when they were brought into Kufa, Sayyida Sukaina is amongst the prisoners. One of the ladies of Kufa, she comes down. She sees Sukaina bint al-Hussein. It is reported. She looks at her and she says to her, my little girl, you look so tired. You look so thirsty. Sukaina bint al-Hussein, it is reported. She says to her, we have not drank any water since the 7th of Muharram. The lady of Kufa, she says, I will give you some water. I am going to give you water to quench your thirst. She brings the water. her. Sukaina is about to drink, but then her aunt, some say Kulthum, she says to her that Bunayya ya Sukaina, if you are going to drink water from this kind lady, then you must pray for her. The lady of Kufa, she says, indeed, I would like you to pray for me. Sukaina, she says to her, what should I pray for you? The lady from Kufa, she says to her, that I have a daughter who is 3 years old just like you. Pray to Allah that what has happened to you does not happen to her. They take Sukaina and the Sabaya into Sham. In the Khariba of Sham, my dear brothers and sisters, not only in the court of Yazid, la'natullahi alayh, they would bring the head of Imam Hussein in every place. وَجَاءُوا بِرَأْسِ الْحُسَيْنِ إِلَى يَزِيدٍ ولا زال يضربه على شفتاه بعصاه. They brought the head of Imam Hussein. Yazid kept taking his stick and hitting the face of Maulana al-Hussein. And only we can imagine what Sayyida Zainab, what Kulthum, what Sukaina bint al-Hussein were thinking, saying, Wa Husayna, Aywa Madluma, Aywa Ghariba, Husayna. They put them in the prison of Sham, and they treated them worse than any prisoner, with the sun beating down on their heads, with the heat of the sun burning their skin, with them suffering in the khariba of Sham. In the middle of the night, they say that Sukaina bint al-Hussein wakes from her sleep, weeping and crying in a loud voice. She has seen her father al-Hussein. The voice of Sukaina reaches the castle of Yazid. Yazid calls the man. He says to him, what is this noise disturbing me in the middle of the night? The man, he says to him that this is Sukaina, the 3-year-old daughter of al-Hussein ibn Ali. Yazid, he says that what does she want? Why is she disturbing and making a noise in the middle of the night? The man, he says to him that she is longing for her father al-Hussein. All she is asking for is her father al-Hussein. Yazid la'natullahi alayhi. He says to the man, take the head of her father and give it to her that maybe she will become silent. The cursed soldier, they take the head of Maulana al-Hussein. They place it on a tray and cover it with a cloth. Go down to the khariba, towards the prison. Open the door of the prison, place the tray in front of Sukaina. Sukaina sees the tray in front of her covered with the cloth. She says to them, I do not want to eat, I don't want to drink. As if she is saying that how can I eat and my father al-Hussein died hungry? How am I going to drink and my father died thirsty? Ali al-Asghar died thirsty. Ali al-Akbar died thirsty. Take the food away, I do not want it. The cursed soldier, he removes the cloth from the tray, showing the head of Maulana al-Hussein. فأخذت سكينة برأس أبيها اعتنقته إلى صدرها وبدأت البكاء. She took the head of Maulana al-Hussein. She held it close to her chest. She began to weep and cry. She said, Abba, man fa'ala bika hadha. My father, who has done this to you? أبا ما لقينا بعدك إلا ضرب الصياد ووخز الأسنة. My father, all we got after you were the cracking of the whips, the spears poking at us and tearing our skin. لقد تقاطرت علينا المحن بعدك يا أبا. My father, all of the trials fell on us after you. أبا يا أبا لقد جابوا برأسك هذا من مكان إلى مكان. My father, they took your head from one place to another in front of us. يا أبا لقد أيتموني وأنا بعد أسيرة بعد صغيرة. My father, they have made me an orphan. I am just a little child. I am only young. يا أبا من لليتامى والمساكين بعدك يا أبا. My father, who will take care of the orphans after you? Suddenly she became silent. Zainab al-Kubra goes to the body of Sukaina. She holds the body and it is not moving anymore. She looks at Al-Imam al-Sajjad. Al-Imam al-Sajjad, he says, Ya Ammata, laqad faraqat ukhti ad-dunya. My sister has left this world. The ruh has gone from the body. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا على محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك ونقسم عليك بحق الزهراء وأبيها. Ask in the name of Fatima الزهراء. आपके जो भी हाजात हैं तो फातिमा الزهراء के नाम में आप पूछें अल्लाह से. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك بحق الزهراء وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها. لعن الله ظالميها. اللهم شافي كل مريض. اللهم رد كل غريب. اللهم فك كل أسير. اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك يا كريم. اللهم وفقنا لمراضيك وجنبنا معاصيك وثبت أقدامنا على صراطك المستقيم وخذ بأيدينا إليك يا أرحم الراحمين. وفرج عنا يا الله فرجا عاجلا قريبا كلمح البصر أو هو أقرب من ذلك. وافرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein. उठो सकीना
सहर हुई है। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। न रूठो गमगीन माँ से दिल बर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। उठो के अब्बास आ रहे हैं, वो भर के मशकी तला रहे हैं। उठो के अब्बास आ रहे हैं, वो भर के मशकी तला रहे हैं। उठो के अब्बास आ रहे हैं, वो भर के मशकी तला रहे हैं। उठो के अब्बास आ रहे हैं, वो भर के मशकी तला रहे हैं। न जुल्म ढाएगा कोई तुम पर, न जुल्म ढाएगा कोई तुम पर। उठो सकीना सहर हुई। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। न कोई मारेगा ताजियाने, न आएगा अब कोई सताने। न कोई मारेगा ताजियाने, न आएगा अब कोई सताने। न शिमर लेगा तुम्हारे गौहर, न शिमर लेगा तुम्हारे गौहर। उठो सकीन सहर हुई। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। न कम सिनी में सुकून पाया, उठा गए सर से पिदर का साया। न कम सिनी में सुकून पाया, उठा है सर से पिदर का साया। न कम सिनी में सुकून पाया, उठा गए सर से पिदर का साया। न कम सिनी में सुकून पाया, उठा गए सर से पिदर का साया। यही था बेटा तेरा मुकद्दर, यही था बेटा तेरा मुकद्दर। उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। तड़प के फुरकत में अब न रोना, इधर के सीने पे जाके सोना। तड़प के फुरकत में अब न रोना, इधर के सीने पे जाके सोना। बुलाने आए हैं तुमको सरवर, बुलाने आए हैं तुमको सरवर। उठो सकीना सहर हुई। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई। पुकारी शाना हिला के मादर, उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। इधर से तुमको छुड़ाने वाले और हमको दर दर फिराने वाले। इधर से तुमको छुड़ाने वाले और हमको दर दर फिराने वाले। इधर से तुमको छुड़ाने वाले और हमको दर दर फिराने वाले। इधर से तुमको छुड़ाने वाले और हमको दर दर फिराने वाले। न बख्शे जाएंगे रोज महशर, न बख्शे जाएंगे रोज रोज महशर उठो सकीना सफर हुई पुकारी शाना हिला के उठो सकीना सफर हुई पुकारी शाना हिला के बाद उठो सकीना सहर हुई है। या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन
या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया हाय दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया हाय दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया तुम माँ की तरह भैया तुम माँ की तरह लोरी सुला दो मुझे भैया दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया अरे दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया अरे दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया लगता है अंधेरे से डर तेरी सकीना को लगता है अंधेरे से डर तेरी सकीना को तुमसे मेरे बाबा का तुमसे मेरे बाबा का दिला दो मुझे भैया दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया तुम माँ की तरह भैया तुम माँ की तरह लोरी सुना दो मुझे भैया दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया हाय दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया देखा है ये नाखों ने बाबा का गला कटते देखा है नाखों ने बाबा का गला कटते अब भूलूंगी भला कैसे भूलूंगी भला कैसे बता दो मुझे भैया दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया तुम माँ की तरह भैया तुम माँ की तरह लोरी सुला दो मुझे भैया दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया अरे दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया अरे दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया अरे दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया सुला दो मुझे भैया मैं सात मुहर्रम से प्यासी हूँ मेरे भैया मैं सात मुहर्रम से प्यासी हूँ मेरे भैया दो घूंट हो गए पानी दो घूंट
सुला दो मुझे भैया, हाय दुखते हैं मेरे कान, सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया, हाय दुखते हैं मेरे कान, सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया।
भैया मेरे कानों से अब तक है लहू जारी,
भैया मेरे कानों से अब तक है लहू जारी,
तुम आके जरा
मरहम, तुम आके जरा मरहम लगा दो मुझे भैया, दुखते हैं मेरे कान, सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया।
तुम माँ की तरह
भैया तुम माँ की तरह गोरी, सुना दो मुझे भैया, दुखते हैं मेरे कान, सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया। खैरिल अमल हैया अला, खैरिल अमल हैया अला, खैरिल अमल अल्लाह जल या इमाम ज़मा, 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 अल्लाह जल
मोहम्मद
متوجه زيارة. السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا خاتم النبيين، السلام عليك يا ابن عبد الله يا باعث الهدى ويا رحمة للعالمين، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا قائد الغر المحجلين، السلام عليك يا مولاتي يا فاطمة الزهراء يا سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا بضعة خاتم النبيين، السلام عليك وعلى أمك خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك أيها الإمام الولي الناصح الزكي، السلام عليك يا أبا محمد الحسن بن علي، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك، عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. قلت قدر السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أبا الفضل العباس أخ الحسين وعلى السيدة الحوراء زينب شريكة الحسين، السلام على الأئمة المعصومين علي زين العابدين ومحمد الباقر وجعفر الصادق وموسى الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد التقي الجواد وعلي النقي الهادي والحسن العسكري، السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا مظهر الإيمان، الأمان الأمان من فتن الزمان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وجعلنا من أنصار ظهورك وأعوانك، السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. دعاء إمام الزمان all together loudly please. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن
صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقاعدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكن أرضك طوعا وتمتع فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
نار حيدري نار الصلوات، اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.